Hello, my name is Tom.
And I'm Heather.
And you're sitting at the Couples Table.
The Couples Table is a live stream podcast here on this channel. Join us for better or worse,
For richer or poorer,
in sickness and in health.
as long as we both shall live.
Perfect. Did you see that?
We
Perfect
did it.
execution happening. It was great.
Cool.
So, hello, everybody. We hope you have been well. On today's episode, we are talking about, this is episode 24, by the way.
I know.
How exciting is that?
We could listen to this show for an entire day.
Yes, you could. So, on episode 24 of the Couples Table, we are going to be talking about a complicated subject. I'm nervous. We're going to be talking about anxiety.
Where is it here?
So, we're talking about anxiety.
Yeah, why do we want to talk about anxiety today?
Well, because...
We are.
Well, I thought of it because I think that not only is it something that I think a lot of people are feeling, I was feeling it like crazy the past couple days.
I've never not felt it, so...
So, yeah, we're just going to talk about... I mean, it's open. We don't have an agenda beyond that, so we can explore how anxiety manifests within us, within you, maybe how we cope with it, things that, might help for other people who are, also trying to navigate their way through.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that's funny
What's the funny thing, Tom?
Working with high school students, I guess it's just part of being a teenager, but a lot of them think whatever's happening to them, they're the only person in the world that it's happening to. And so if they have anxiety, it's like this thing of like, oh, I have anxiety. And it's
Right.
like, welcome.
Join
All
the
of
club.
us are here.
Yeah.
And obviously that doesn't like downplay what they're dealing with, but it's sort of it's an interesting thing when they realize that it's not an uncommon or an unusual thing. And that's why I thought it was a good idea when you suggested the topic was because I think it's one of those great things to talk about. Not that there's a solution for it. I don't have a solution for it. I've had anxiety my whole life. I still have it. I'm having it right now. I have no solutions. But just knowing that other people feel it can help.
Yeah.
I'm going to move his bone off of the desk.
Ben is chewing Ben has his
Picking up on,
bone
like, everything.
against the desk, and he's chewing it, and so there's this like rumbling sound underneath. Also, hello to everybody here, the usual suspects. We've got Dominic, we've got Jessica, and we've got Ron. What's up, everybody?
And Jared. The whole crew.
The whole crew is here. So first, I do want to kind of say this at the beginning.
I gotta go move that. It's so distracting.
Our dogs.
You can hear. It's all you can hear. You gotta just move it over there.
Okay, so here's what I want to just say from the get-go. I think that there is a difference between psychologically diagnosable anxiety and like just an emotion of anxiousness. I do think there is a difference. What do you think?
Well,
I think there is. I mean, it's diagnosable.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's like people saying, "Oh, I have a migraine" to you when you're like, "No. Migraine is a different thing. It's in the realm of headaches, but it's a different."
I wouldn't look at it from that point of view. I would look at it from like anxiety is a thing that exists in the world that everybody experiences because you're supposed to, because it tells you that something is wrong and it pushes you into action. It's like stress. Stress is an important thing because it tells you, oh, this thing could be dangerous or I should worry about this thing here. The problem is when it's not regulated right, or when there's no solution for it, or you're feeling anxiety for no discernible reason. It made sense hundreds of thousands of years ago to feel anxious about not having any food and winter is coming. But it doesn't make sense when you're just like sitting on your couch safe and secure and you're having a panic attack. Like I think those are very different experiences of anxiety.
Yeah. And the reason why I kind of just wanted to say that there is a difference is because like I've been medically treated for anxiety, and I think that's different for someone being like, oh, I'm anxious, so
I don't know. I mean getting the treatment is, but I think there are so many people who like would be diagnosed with anxiety but will never go to the doctor for it, and that doesn't mean that they don't have it.
Right.
It's like you still have cancer even if you never go to doctor that like diagnoses you. Like the cells are still in there growing. The diagnosis relates to the treatment, not the existence of the thing. And I think I think getting diagnosed obviously does mean there's something different. Like maybe this is a step above.
Well, I think
normal.
if you're gonna get checked, it's probably because it's so it's like interrupting your normal life.
Well, and then you can go into treatment and how to
Right.
handle it and that's a whole different world and a whole different avenue that then is not available to you if you don't actually go get treated.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But today we're talking about just anxiety. Just so what is it? Okay, so you said that you have had anxiety all your life and you're anxious right now. What does that feel? What is that like compared to someone who didn't have?
I don't know what it would feel like to not be anxious.
Like, what does it mean? Like, how do you know that you are anxious right now?
Okay, my stomach is always upset. I just always feel uncomfortable. I always feel a pressure of like something. Oh, it's like an impending doom, but I don't know what it is. It's not like you could tell me like, oh, you're on the train tracks and a train is coming. It's just sort of like an unease that exists because I am awake.
Stop.
It's true. And sometimes it's worse than others, but I mean, it's kind of like, it's sort of always there, you know, and I've tried to find ways of dealing with it and I've tried to find ways of dealing with it, you know, like, okay, maybe there's too much stuff happening in my brain. So if I get it out, if I keep a journal, if I keep notes, if I keep lists, and sometimes that can help. And then sometimes those things, like I got this thing a couple years ago called the Panda Planner, which is a great tool.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. It's like a daily planner. But instead of just being your to-do list or your calendar for the day, it sort of has like exercises to go through. Like today, I'm looking forward to these things, and today I accomplished this. It's kind of cool. Like it forces you to pause and like think about the day. It like lets you take each day as its own thing rather than just like I got to get through the week and then 5 days just sort of clump up into one and disappear. But then I found after a couple months of using it, I was getting anxiety about needing to fill it out every day. So, I don't know.
Ron says, I don't generally have anxiety about my day-to-day work or dealing with strangers, but weirdly, the anxious episodes I've had have been to do with dealing with close friends.
And like echo chambers, soundproof chambers. I made a video today about soundproofing, and Ron pointed out a time that he went into like an actual like a room where there are no echoes, no anything. And it's like, he said, you could be on one end of the room and someone could be like screaming into a microphone on the other and you couldn't hear them.
How crazy.
And I was like, ooh, that just made me.
My adult anxiety holds me back because of horrid overthinking. Sometimes it affects me to a point I just cannot function without someone telling me what to do. Like my executive function shuts down.
I get it.
I don't experience that.
You don't?
Yeah, you do that all the time. I didn't know this.
Yes, it's just constant. And
so did you feel an impending doom when we got married, babe?
No,
there's something you're not telling me.
It's not like there is a doom. It's just a
feeling of doom.
It's a feeling of that, and my anxiety, which sucks. A big part of it has to do with fear of losing things, fear of things being taken away, fear, like I get something good and my immediate thought is, how am I going to lose this? How's it going to go away? How's it going to whatever? And it's everything. Dogs getting older, like us getting older.
Yeah, Tom is definitely.
It's terrible. As soon as I get something that I care about, I'm just worried about how it's going to be taken away.
Like if we're super happy as a family, dogs are happy, we're all just running around or, you know, walking around or something, immediately he's like, oh, I would just want this to stay like this forever. Like, I don't want the dogs to get old. I don't want them to get sick. Everyone's happy and healthy. And yeah.
It's just, I can't.
feel you clinging on to the moment.
I can't escape that kind of thing, which is very frustrating. And I forget where I was going to go with that, but I was going to go somewhere with it. Doesn't matter though.
It matters.
No, I know. I'm sure. Don't worry. I'm sure. Thank you for reaffirming.
I love you.
I'm sure we'll come back around to it.
I don't know if sensory overload plays a factor into it too, but it gets so bad when I start to overload on information from many sources, for sure.
Well, that's when then I'm prone to migraines, which are not just headaches. There.
Yeah, it's a whole situation.
Yeah, eyesight goes away, and you're
so I have anxiety too.
Yes, tell me what your anxiety feels like.
So I feel like my anxiety is manifests very physically.
Oh yeah.
And like I want to just lay down under the covers. It's that feeling of not wanting, I just don't want to stand. Like physically I'm just tired and like I just want to sleep until the next day. That's mostly that's like physically how my anxiety manifests. But then also I think also it manifests in self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Like just constant like talking myself out
Right.
of things or doubting myself or second guessing everything. And
You can talk anyone else into anything, and you can talk yourself out of anything.
I think I've done a pretty good job of recognizing anxiety. Before I just didn't even know, like before I even found out about my ADHD or even understood what mental health was, because in my family it's not, it's a taboo thing. Mental health doesn't exist. Kind of, just shake it off, you'll be fine. So when I finally kind of looked into this, did research, learn more about it, it was so great knowing that this is a thing, like you said, that people experience. It's not uncommon. There's all these signs, and there's a reason why you are feeling the way that you are. And
Right.
it was just such a like, it was like so much peace of mind of like, okay, I'm not crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that is a great feeling.
But now that I know, like now that I can recognize when I am anxious, because to me it's not 24/7 for me. So when I know that I'm anxious, I can know immediately like, okay, this is what I should do. And a lot of it is just like let it ride, like don't fight it, just
Yeah.
let it pass kind of thing. Yeah, because sometimes I feel like you can kind of do
I spiral.
You spiral so fast. Oh my God. I mean, you guys have seen it.
I caught myself though.
You do. Yeah, you do.
Yes, I've gotten better.
You've gotten so much better, babe.
Can I tell you a goofy story about anxiety?
Go.
So I didn't know as a kid what anxiety was. I just knew I was like, or I didn't even know I was nervous because I didn't know what nervous was. I just felt weird all the
like
time.
heart
all the time.
palpitations.
Especially like to do with like going to school, being away from home, being away from like parents. I was always scared of being like left for some reason, even though
that's right.
it like never happened ever. So I don't know where that came from. But like every single day I would try to go home sick in elementary school in like the 3rd or 4th grade, to the point where I can remember the elementary school front office had 2 doors. Like there was a door and then a big counter where like all the secretaries were, and then the exit door. And I would get to school in the morning and I would walk in. I would literally walk in one door and they'd be like, "Good morning, Tom." And I'd be like, "I'm just letting you know I don't feel good today." And then I would walk out and they'd be like, "Okay." And that's so later in class when I could say I don't feel good, it'd be like, "Oh, he laid the groundwork." But it was literally every day. So, and then they wouldn't let me go home or anything. But I got pretty good at being able to push the thermometer really hard to the roof of my mouth to make the temperature go up just a little bit.
This coming from a teacher.
That's how I recognize these things. Let's see. Ron said, "My girlfriend has much more experience with anxiety than I do. I'd get her to watch this, but she's busy watching the video game awards." And like, you know what? Priorities are very important in life, and she has them.
Yes, I will watch the recap.
If you guys need to leave, we understand.
Yeah.
Or put us on mute and go. Oh, to your point though about family things, Ron also said, "When I was younger in my family, the answer for depression or any mental health issue was more prayer. Surprisingly ineffective." Yeah, that's still some of the answers here. Which like, there's a weird thing though.
Pat on the back, you'll be fine.
Sometimes though, other people will say that they're praying for me, and it's oddly comforting. But I think it's just because someone's thinking about like.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. Did we tell everybody? I don't think we told anybody about what happened before my dad passed away in the hospital. Can we move his phone from the thing? It's all we can hear. So last summer, my dad passed away, and Heather and I were in the hospital with him for like the last 4 days. And obviously that was a very stressful experience. Very normal to have anxiety in that experience. And we didn't know how to feel or anything. And, you know, the doctors and the nurses are kind of coming in and out. There's like a social worker that's even coming in and out. I don't know if social worker is the right name, like a hospice person who's sort of like checking on the mental health of the family. And suddenly one day, because it's just hours and hours of us just sort of sitting in the room, like he's unconscious, so it's just us there. And this guy shows up and he's like, I'm Father something.
Monsignor.
And I'm here to do the last rites. And I was like, okay. There were no other introductions, and he immediately launched in.
He just went for it. It was like in the same sentence. It was like, I'm here to do the last rites. Bam. He's already like opening up his book.
Yeah, we were sitting there, and then he was like, do you reject Satan? And I was like,
So he asked us.
He was talking to us, though. So
reject Satan.
We had to stand up. And now we were part of this.
Yeah, well, I didn't even know what was going on. I still didn't.
There was so
like
fast.
no pause, and he was like, "Do you reject Satan?" And I was just like, philosophically, or like what? I was not gonna answer. I didn't think it was a yes or no question at first. Like that was our first impression. Then I realized, he was
waiting for an answer. Like we needed to say things. Then he made you get him a cup of water.
Yes, which he transformed
into holy water, blessed everything, walked over and did it on the windows, did all these prayers, did all this stuff, did blessings, sang a song, and then he was gone.
Yeah, it was like 7 minutes and then he was gone.
But okay, it's a really funny because it was so just like
unexpected.
It was so intense. It had been like 3 days of hardly like just quiet, like, are you okay? Do you need anything? Okay. And then suddenly and then just like
came in
ball of energy, no introductions, no like is this what you want? And which my dad would have found hilarious.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I was like, he would be laughing at this so hard right now.
But beyond that, it was wildly comforting. We were in tears at the end of it.
I know, I was like bawling.
Because it just sort of like, there was like an absolution, there was all stuff. And for whatever, it just like released so much pent up like stress and anxiety and just whatever. It was like the best thing. And it's nothing we would have thought to do on our own. But I'm really glad that it happened.
Yeah. Can you hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I forgot to say this. Sorry, changing subjects really quick. The Couples Table hit 750 downloads on our audio podcast.
No, I moved the thing, but here, wait, we'll get there. Oh, there you go. I need to add that sound.
So I want to just give a shout out to anyone who watches the audio podcast. We always shout out our video live stream people because we see their comments, but if you're listening to the audio version, this is your shout out. We appreciate you, and if you can take a few seconds to write us a review, that would be awesome.
Oh sure, yes, that's an important thing that I never remember to ask people to do ever, so do that thing.
Yeah. Okay, back to your regular scheduled situation.
Here we go.
So yeah,
anyway, that was just a
what are things that have helped? Let's talk about things that have helped. Because if you deal with anxiety 24/7 for 35 years of life, you should be really good at
Well, I should
coping.
say the levels are different. Sometimes it's incredibly intense where it's like you can't do anything. And other times it's just the normal, like...
This is your baseline.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no solution, so I have nothing in terms of like, this is going to really help. Obviously, like, if it's possible to be in the moment and be mindful, that really helps. I've tried doing the thing where you like pay attention to your senses and you're like, okay, what's something I can see right now? What's something I can taste right now? What's something I can smell right now? Like you're just sort of, okay, this mouse pad is black and kind of soft. And like that can kind of help for sure.
I think that really helps for acute situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not an everyday, it's not something that helps every day. I mean, it's
like in a panic attack, 100% you got to go through the senses.
Yeah. But when it's just sort of general feeling of overwhelmingness, I don't have a great solution. I just try, keyword being try, to maintain some level of perspective and like, okay, I'm super anxious right now, but I got to get through the next half hour.
Yeah.
What do I need to do in the next 30 minutes? This. Okay. Now what do I need to do in the next hour? Now what do I need to do then? And then maybe it eases up. And sometimes it doesn't. And that's my answer.
Well, actually, you know why I came up with this idea? I just realized why I came up with this idea for this podcast show of anxiety.
Yes.
I was on Twitter.
Okay.
I forgot what his last name is. I want to say it's Adam Grant. But I follow this guy that I've been following for a lot. I think I found him through a TED Talk, which he did about like workplace dynamics and leadership and management and stuff like that. Anyway, he posted a poll that was like, if you knew back in March that we would still be where we are, like, you know,
how would you feel?
Over 6 months later, would you have done things differently? And then it was a yes or no. And then his like afterthought was, I suggest that you think about the next 6 months now that you've thought about this. So, you know, I know that when we first locked down, I was like June 1st at the latest.
I remember that. And I remember like, that's a very conservative.
Yeah. Yes. I was like, I am how daring of me to think of like June 1st, because everyone else was like, oh, by next month for sure. It's not that
by
big
May,
of a deal.
by Easter.
Yeah. But I was like, no. Late. I'm going to think late, and it's going to be June 1st. Here we are 6 months later.
Christmas is in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, but like if you knew back in March, like, okay, the whole world is going to be pretty much on lockdown for the rest of the year. You are going to be, you know, I don't want to sound like selfish by saying this, but for the most part, you're going to be happy and healthy. Like, you're not going to get COVID. You're going to abide by all the rules. You're not going to leave your house. Knowing that and planning for that and understanding that that's going to be the reality for the next, you know, for the rest of the year, would you do things differently?
Sorry, this is just...
It's driving Tom crazy, so we gotta...
absolutely driving crazy.
He's gonna take it back, babe.
I just feel bad for the people listening to the audio version. It would be unlistenable to hear that.
Sorry, Finley's chewing the bone, like right here. He has returned with the bone. Okay, and then I think there was a thing that was like, I don't know if it was the same post or whatever, but it was like, do you feel less inspired and less motivated during this time of the year, or more inspired and more motivated? And I just thought, like,
it's so bad. Buddy.
He's gonna come back.
I know, I don't know. It's just, they put a pillow there or something. I'll put his bed there.
Sorry, guys. I'll peek into the comments. Let's see. Let's see. I think what you're describing is one of the reasons why religion has such a hold on the human imagination. The rituals and ceremony can be really comforting since they are a predictable framework. Yes. Even as an atheist, I can't deny that grief filtered via a belief system takes anxiety and uncertainty level down. Does anyone else get hiccups during a bad panic attack? I don't. The biggest help for me has been getting professional help to deal with it. Has been a huge help for those that are afraid of getting help. Don't. It works, and you actually can get better. Yes, I just second that, Jared. That's like I can't believe I waited so long. I would have saved myself so much more anxiety just seeing someone.
That's an opposite thing, because I grew up with it being a very like normal thing that people see therapists and mental health is a thing. And
you did that.
I mean, I didn't go with it, but it was a thing where like,
it was not normal for us. Like, if you saw a doctor for mental anything, you're crazy. You're insane. Like, that's which is
crazy. Ironically,
overthinking often plays decision making. So yeah, anyway, just thinking that, like, that made me think, because 2020 is such a is like, I feel like anxiety is often seen in the same sentence with 2020, because it's, you know, it's been like a year of uncertainty and just waiting and like craziness and everything. So on top of the internal, there's external factors that are kind of, you know, cultivating anxiety. But yeah, would you, I don't know.
I mean,
things different.
I think so I have a lot of thoughts about that, because the internal versus external thing is very true, because it's also not just like I'm feeling really anxious, like maybe someone else can help me feel better, because the whole world, like everybody.
Yeah, like there's a societal.
You can't escape it.
anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you feel fine, you turn on the TV, you go on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's just like you can feel the anxiety just jumping out of the phone.
I have to actively try not to really think about it too much, especially with work and stuff. Like today I was thinking about, we got some like some new equipment that came in, which is really cool, like really nice camera lights, stuff like that. And it's like, cool, this is really neat. And then I was thinking, some of the students who would be most excited for that stuff will probably never get to use it because they're seniors and probably not going to come back to school this year, I don't think. And they're just going to graduate and they're never even going to get to use it. And I was just like, and then it just thinking back to March 13th, like knowing that was like the last day that things were just kind of normal. And I just, when I really think of how strange everything is, then I start to feel very anxious. And then when I think about trying to put it back together, like there's a lot of pieces.
How are we turning back on?
It just, that even makes me more anxious. And then when you think about the irreparable stuff, like businesses that go out of business and stuff that shuts down, just stuff that's not there. We're past the point. I was thinking about this the other day. If you leave your house, like if we left and went on vacation or went out of town for a week even, right? But we did really nothing to prepare for it. We just sort of left and came back in a week. Everything would be pretty much okay. Like the fridge might be kind of stinky. Some plants might be a little wilted, but everything would be pretty much fine.
9 months later.
Yeah, if we left right now and came back 9 months later, depending on like what your house situation is, I mean, it could literally be unlivable. Like stuff, there could be things like rotted, falling down, falling apart, like destroyed. Like it's past the point of just being able to like flip the switch and turn it back on. Like,
yeah, you'd have to repair,
if
rebuild.
If Thanos could come and snap like the COVID virus away and everything was completely okay in terms of safety to like just go back to normal, things can't go back to normal now. Like that's not an option.
Well, we can't go back to the normal that was.
Well, I don't mean the cheesy, like, I know there's the like, this is the new normal and in times like this, in unprecedented times. Precedented times.
I mean, I'm not trying to say
there
it's
will
cheesy,
be a new,
but
there is,
yeah.
I know it is it's a real thing, not just like the temporary, like, well, we're all on Zoom now, right? We have to wear our masks. This is the new normal until things go back to normal. But it's like, no, like really, like it reminds me of pre and post 9/11 in the US, which is like, it was just a different time. The way you approach so many different things after that was just entirely different.
Yeah.
And it took it, I don't know. And this is just even on a far, far larger scale than that. So when I start thinking about that, I get very, very anxious. But to answer your original question of what would you do if you knew this was going to happen 9 months ago, I am actually very happy with how we've done our 9 months. I think we've...
Oh, are you kidding? I mean, literally my answer to that was like, I don't think I've ever been more motivated. And I feel there's the guilt. There's the guilt of me feeling like I've never been more inspired, more motivated, probably like comparable to 2016 when I was like, oh my God, I could start my own business. I could start my own YouTube channel. Like, how cool is this? And like giving it a shot. Like I think like looking back, I think I just missed the boat with like the normal track. And now that the normal track is not there, I'm paving my own path and I feel great. Like,
and everybody's like, we don't know, so your path is fine.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no comparison anymore because it's like everyone's on their own thing. And it's just like, I think that's the only way I've been able to stay consistent, I mean, with that being said, it took a lot. Like, I feel like I had to hit rock bottom during this year first before we, just magically blossoming. But, yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's like a happy way to look at it. What are our
Can
folks saying
anxiety
up in
be
here?
life-threatening?
I mean, I would say in a semi-roundabout way, yes. I mean, okay. There's a few ways you could look at that.
Well, it's not like
anxiety
terminal.
No, but I mean, it can lead to depression. So,
yeah,
I mean, I think there's a very strong link between, suicide and anxiety, and suicide, people feeling anxiety. Like there's a lot of, so if you want to look at it that way, in a more tangible way, being in states of constant anxiety and stress is very taxing physically on your body. Like literally your blood vessels, your heart, like everything just starts kind of wearing and just more. So it can be incredibly unhealthy.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, my last day out was March 12th. There's a friend I've been trying to meet up with since June, thinking August would be okay.
It's tricky. And that, I mean, I've been having anxiety about all this because in California, where we're at, this week we went back into a lockdown because especially if you look at our numbers, it's like there's a little graph where it's like, okay, here's where everything was in March when it closed, and then it's kind of going up. And in the last week, it's literally like 8 times as it's just like a giant wall. And so the state's like, yeah, back on lockdown, everything's shut down again. And I am getting anxiety because from lots of directions, there's the question of like, well, should we hang out? And I just wish that wasn't a question. I just don't like having to answer that question or deal with that question so many times for everything, for family holidays, but also just like friends and colleagues. Like in the States, like the state is closed, y'all need to stay home. And then people are like, well, should we get together? It's like,
just say no.
I mean, I just wish,
like, you have the power, you know.
No, I know. But that's what gives me anxiety is because then it's a thing of like, well, people are gonna get upset, people are gonna blah 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 blah. Whereas if it were just like,
just
yo, let's all be on the same page, because like that's the way that it is.
Humans are humans, and no one's ever gonna be on the same page ever.
I know, but I'm just in an ideal world when it's just so crazy to me when it's like everyone needs to stay home. Should we go somewhere? I don't know. And it's tough because I do see the other side of the argument when it's like, well, do you go visit someone on Christmas? And that's a discussion we had, right? Do you go visit someone on Christmas? Well, the lockdown ends 2 days after Christmas. So what's magically going to happen between Friday and Monday that's going to make it dangerous on Friday and safe on Monday? Nothing really, but like, I don't know. It's just, that's the stuff when I start thinking about those things, I just want to go do something else and crawl and like work on a Photoshop project or something. I don't have to think about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think anxiety has been, see, this is why I think it's important to differentiate like the psychological definition and then just kind of, it's like saying depressed, you know, like, oh, I have depression, or are you depressed? Well, there's a difference, you know, and I think it's the same with anxiety. I think with anxiety in 2020, I think it's really been maybe not redefined, but brought to the forefront. You know, it's in the zeitgeist. It's in like the level of consciousness. People are aware that there is a collective anxiety, and I think it's just like, I don't know. I think it's important to be aware of it. And if you're thinking that things are just going to turn back on and your anxiety is going to go away, like then you're putting your, I don't know, mental well-being on something that's like not predictable.
Well, the same thing kind of goes, I agree, because I've heard so much, especially now this month, where people are like, oh, I can't wait for 2020 to be done.
Yeah, so what, January 1st?
It's like nothing's going to change on January 1st. Like, it's 2020. Like, it's not based on our calendar. And I think that's kind of the same thing where people are like, I'll just pause now and then 2021 turn things back on. It's like, no, not necessarily. Like, you really do have to figure out ways to adapt. And you know, I was talking to someone yesterday who's a public speaker as their career, and their whole, you know, hundreds and hundreds of talks scheduled throughout the year, and everything is canceled, and they could just literally go out of business or pivot and, you know, figure out how to create really awesome online presentations and stuff like that. And then luckily this person was having fun with like, okay, I'm going to build a studio. I'm going to do really cool stuff to like change the way that I present stuff, and I can reach an even wider audience. And it's like, cool. That's like, you know, I admire that kind of approach of, okay, everything's different, but this is how it is. What can we do? And, you know, what are some cool opportunities to do things even better? Yeah,
like my girl Taylor Swift coming out with her second album this year. What the heck? Like I admire people who just make the most of the situation. I just love that. I really do believe that in times of adversity, that's when there's going to be a whole different dynamic of creativity, because it's something you didn't plan for. And like the circumstances are changed in a way that you couldn't predict, but you're still capable of creating something, right? And it's more of just like, well, what is it going to be? Like if you keep trying to fit back in with what was the usual way of doing it, that's not where we are anymore. Like that's not the world, you know? And I know for me, like I have to differentiate between like, okay, am I feeling anxious because of the situation? Am I feeling anxious because like I just have anxiety where there's no reason for it? It's just kind of like I have heart palpitations, I'm, you know, breathing really fast, I'm starting to sweat, like, and there's no reason. It's not like, oh, someone pissed me off or, you know,
yeah,
it's just like it just happens. So just differentiating between that, but then also like my level of empowerment, like how much control do I feel like I have? And if I feel like I'm in control, it's easier for me to kind of do the mental gymnastics to get back to being able to function normally.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, hi Philip.
What's up, Philip?
You know what gives me anxiety? Bad Zoom video.
So Jared said, you know, you're not, I know it's a joke, but also the times when you're in a Zoom call and somebody says, oh, so-and-so, can you talk? And you just see them struggling to unmute themselves and like reorient, and they might not have been, that really does give me like acute anxiety, because it's just like, oh no, it's like embarrassment by proxy.
Yeah. I absolutely love that you guys don't shy away from topics like this. I think speaking out openly about topics like this will truly help your listeners that deal with anxiety. Yeah, and like, I mean, I think I've told this story before, but the reason why I found out about like medically diagnosable anxiety was, I don't think I've shared this part, but I don't mind sharing it. 2015, yeah, it was 2015, and I was in Austin with my roommate at the time, and we were taking a road trip from San Antonio to like back to Austin or something like that. So we were in the car. It was a beautiful sunset. It was just the two of us driving through Texas. We had just had like such a fun weekend. Like everything was good, and it out of nowhere, I have no history of this, okay? Out of nowhere, I had a thought of suicide. Like it just came out of nowhere, and it was so weird, because by the time I caught myself like thinking about it, I was like, I had already been thinking about it for a while. Like I think I was just staring out the car window and just thinking like, I don't even remember. I don't even remember what it was, because I don't have these thoughts anymore and haven't since. But I remember that it was so different and unlike me that I was very worried. Like I was like, why did I just think that? That's so weird. And I started doing research and talking to a few friends, and I was super embarrassed about it, and there was all this shame and blah blah blah. Finally found a doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist.
I always forget,
but the one that can like prescribe medicine. I finally found one next to me, made an appointment, and canceled it, and then made it again and canceled it, because I kept thinking like, okay, it's not a big deal, it's fine. I could just, you know, I just have to talk to somebody, or I just need to journal more, or it was fine, it was a phase, whatever. But you know, I had one friend who also suffered with general anxiety disorder, who had to take medication for it. He was like, just see the doctor, and if it's nothing, it's nothing, but I think you should run it by a professional. Like just go see. It's not like no harm done. If it's just ends up being nothing, it's better to check. And lo and behold, when I went, she diagnosed me with anxiety, depression, and ADHD. That was when I found out about my ADHD. I had no idea. So my whole 30 years of life, I had no idea that like I had ADHD, and it explained everything. Like I came back from that first appointment just like, I just looked the entire world differently. I was like, this is why I'm late all the time. There's literally a reason. It's crazy. And, you know, I don't, anyway, just to go off of Jerry's point, like, I don't think there's anything wrong. I know it's like, oh, we want to not have a mental problem, but, you know, I don't see it as a problem. It's more of just like, this is what makes you you, and it's just learning more about how you can understand yourself so that you're better, you could better equip yourself with creating a system that works for you.
It's kind of no different than like, this food makes you like allergic in some way, so you should avoid this food and you'll feel better. It's just sort of a part of how you are.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean like, oh, because I'm lactose intolerant, like there's something wrong with me. Like I'm no lesser of a person, right? So it's just the same thing. Like you're just learning more about yourself. And I think so many of great thinkers and artists and successful entrepreneurs all have, not all, but a lot of them have, I don't know what to call it, like mental, like difference. I don't want to say disability. I don't think it's the right word, but thing.
Yes, a thing.
Including anxiety. And everyone is just kind of, it's about being self-aware and kind of just recognizing, self-awareness. It's like continuing the quest of self-awareness. And
you're very good at self-awareness, which is why, like, that story, when something out of the ordinary happens, you didn't just let it go, or you like actually.
Well, because it was like so shocking, dude. Like I never.
But you didn't spend a day or two and then let it go. Like you went until you found a solution. I didn't even
tell my roommate in the car that day because I was just like, I can't. What the hell was that? Like I didn't want her to think like now I'm gonna go.
I think that's reasonable. I don't think many people would.
I didn't want to make a big deal of it. It was a whole.
Yeah, but that's also where like when you're dealing with mental things, that's the problem, because it's like if you're feeling intense anxiety and somebody just tells you everything's okay, it's like that's not relevant right now. Like that has nothing to do with it. Like you said, it was a great time, great trip, great company, great food, great place. Everything's great. Still like weird mental state. And it's not connected to the outside world.
There's a woman on the Game Awards speaking to the top of a Blue Yeti and I can't deal with it. Why? What is this?
That drives me crazy.
Oh, like.
Where they point, like how our microphones right now are pointed directly at us because they're like you speak into the top of them.
But the Yeti's on the side of it.
The Yeti's on the side, and people always point it at them, and it looks so stupid, and it sounds bad.
I know, but how would they know?
I don't know. Read the manual. They even tell you the blue logo is the front. Point that at you. I mean, it's like
hello, all. How's everything doing? What's up? So, anxiety.
Yes, anxiety.
Okay, so let's talk about like I don't know what else you want to talk about when it comes to it.
I mean, I don't. What I like actually is talking about it, kind of like Jared brought up a while ago. Like, I get tired sometimes of
problem solving.
Yeah, I get tired of problem solving. I get tired of problem solvers. You can watch YouTube videos where people are like, oh, here, depression is a thing. So this is all the solutions and all the ways to deal with it. And you just need to implement these 5 steps and it will cure your depression or ease this or whatever. And I kind of like when it's like, this is a thing, which is why I've said so many times today, like, I don't have a solution. It's just a thing I deal with. My strategies kind of suck. That might not be helpful, but I think that's kind of, I don't know. There's something that's oddly comforting about hearing other people do that, because it doesn't make you feel like, oh, they figured it out and I'm struggling with it. It's like, no, it's an ongoing daily thing, and sometimes it's easier and sometimes it's more difficult, and
Yeah. So for me, like when it comes to the anxiety, like, I don't know, I guess episode, that I get, where I feel like I don't want to do anything. I feel very fatigued and just want to bury myself in the blanket, and like, honestly debilitating kind of anxiety. That I know the one thing that I hold on to is that I know it will end. This too shall pass. I know that. And the more I try to fight it, the more frustrated I get. The more like I start to question everything, and I just learned that there is no like every attempt to try to fix this is not going to work. So the best thing to do is just to write it out, and then tomorrow's a new day and we will take it from there. Mm-hmm. which is why yesterday I did not upload to this channel. And you guys know I'm doing the 31-day challenge and 31 videos in 31 days. And I did tell myself when I started this challenge that as long as I uploaded to one of my 2 channels, that's what mattered.
Mm-hmm.
But 3 days into it, I was like, I could do both, you know, like I could upload on this channel and that channel and like
40 videos.
Yeah. Like I was just, I wanted to upload every day on this channel. And then as an afterthought, I would upload to the other one. I didn't tell anyone that.
Right.
But yesterday I was just like, I just could not. This is one of those I could not days. And there's no way in heck that I was going to muster up the strength to go put on a full face of makeup, perform in front of a video camera, like write a script, do this whole thing. Like there's no way I can get from where I was to that point. And so I didn't. Luckily, I had a video that I had made in August that I just haven't done anything
That was already
with.
August?
That was August.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
And maybe some of you guys have watched it, but it was about how I redesigned the studio. So I'd made that video in August and I had it. Thank goodness I had it. So I still could upload a video and not break my challenge, but 100%, like, I am definitely not saying that anxiety is something that you can easily overcome. Like, here are all the things that work for me. Oftentimes, and honestly, every month, for 1 week, every month, I just, like, how do I say I shut down? I just know that the best thing to do is to just write it out. So instead of making a video, here's what I did. Well, first of all, I've been suffering with insomnia for the past 4 nights. Getting no sleep sucks because it just ruins the whole day. It's really hard for me to retain thoughts. I can never remember what I'm saying or doing or thinking. So that's like problem number 1. So I just try to like rest and nap and sleep and just do very minimal things. I watched hella anime and like, you know, really feel good, just like really cutesy, stupid, silly, but I don't care because I just need like the cheesiest thing right now. And then I eat a lot. And that's fine with me. Like, I'm not going to feel bad. For me, that's just how I deal with it.
And it passes.
It. And then, yeah. And today, I feel fantastic.
Yeah. And you made videos and you made graphics and you did all this stuff.
I made, like, such a great video today. I'm so excited for you to see it. Hopefully,
is it coming up today? Oh, no, because this is today's upload.
So tomorrow, hopefully, I will finish it.
Nice.
But anyway.
That's cool. I like that.
Let's see.
Aubrey's here.
Aubrey, Gary, hello.
Hello.
Aubrey, hello. Let's see. The biggest anxiety trigger for me is being invited into social situations by friends where I have to deal with friends of theirs I don't know. That's reduced me to tears.
There's so much of anxiety has to do with, for me at least, expectations. Either expectations I place on myself.
Gosh, that's a whole episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or expectations of others, which may or may not be accurate. But the tricky part to navigate is in my 35 years.
35 years?
There have been enough times where I think like where I'm maybe placing an expectation, like I think somebody's expecting something of me. They have not indicated this, but it turns out that in fact they were, or it was even worse. There's plenty of times, probably even the majority of times, it's not the case. It's something that I've just thought and the person's not even aware of it. But there have been just enough times where it turns out I was right, which is oddly, it's oddly like satisfying in a way of like, I'm not, like you said, I'm not crazy. I was right. My spidey sense is tuned well. But yeah, like I started seeing a therapist in 2014, which was not necessarily because of anything. It was basically at the recommendation of others. You need to talk to someone because your stress and anxiety are, you know, through the roof. And I had been surrounded by a lot of people at the time who I had my feelings of like, I feel this way and I'm worried about this and I'm this. And I would just kind of, it was almost like unintentionally gaslit, I guess. And it was very interesting to then go to therapy, kind of talk about situations. And as you sort of work through them and as you break them down, you realize that you are in fact not crazy.
It's not you.
And that you're actually right about a lot of things. And that was just like, that would have never happened without that input. And it's not because like the therapist is just like, yeah, you're right all the time, no matter what. It's just, you have, if you're just in this little world all the time and that's all you see.
Professional, objective, third party
perspective. The whole deal.
Yeah.
Experience.
The biggest anxiety trigger for me is being invited into. I
was like, am I having crazy deja vu?
There was some Insta content. Thank you, Dominic, for watching.
Yesterday?
I posted the group.
Right.
Or more often, I just stand outside the venue having a mild breakdown at the notion I don't know how I'm expected to behave. The person I am when I'm with my friends isn't who I can be for strangers.
That's, I've been there. This is, I think a lot of us are kindred spirits, and here Jared and I are like leading parallel lives in some way.
I feel like we would all get along. I can't wait for the couples table meetup. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
But yeah, I identify very much with that. Even, oh my God, when was it? When was your birthday?
July 2nd.
No, I know. Okay, rephrase.
We are married.
When was your birthday where we went to the gay bar?
It was last year.
That was 2019.
Yeah.
That was your birthday, right?
The last one, yeah.
Okay. So that was...
Are you going to tell this story?
It's not much of a story to tell, but it was Heather's birthday. Friends were in town and just kind of hanging out and ended up at a gay bar in Palm Springs, which I don't drink. I don't go to bars. I have no, like... And
this is like the gayest of the gay bars.
That's the thing, too, is we were with, like... There's a lot of people in our group who are gay, and they were like, this is kind of extreme. And I was just like, okay,
we were
like
bar hopping.
It's your. I guess you were just my girlfriend at the time. We weren't even fianced yet.
Oh, really?
We weren't even.
Oh, wow, my boyfriend. Ooh.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, it's the love of my life's birthday. Aww. I'm gonna just do what she wants to do. It's fine. Like everybody here's great.
I wish you guys. If I could have.
It's not. It has nothing to do with even the type of bar, but it just sort of sets the tone. If you guys could have
seen Tom's face,
it's loud. It's
they
crowded.
were playing like
I don't even know how to
porn.
order drinks. There's like stuff there, and finally, I just hit a point where like everyone was just off, like having fun, and I was like, I am gonna go outside and sit on the curb.
You didn't even do that. Like you just left.
In my mind, I said that.
I was like, where is Tom?
You were in a room that I couldn't even go in because there's flashing lights and stuff. So I just went outside, and one of our other friends just kind of went outside, and I was like, and I felt terrible. I was like, I'm sorry.
I know you feel so uncool, and like no one is judging you.
It's the least cool feeling. It was like when you took me to the Vegas club, and I like almost had a seizure, and I was like, this is not cool party guy. That now I'm dripping sweat and muscles are locked up sitting at a slot machine right now. That's me though.
Pre Tom Heather is a
pre-Tom Heather. Pre-Tom Heather. Think about this.
Pre-Tom Heather was a party girl for show.
Which is fine, but pre-Heather Tom was not, and Heather Tom is also still not a party girl. But it's like
anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, I understand the feeling of like I'm really trying to rally for the group, and I'm trying to like the last thing I want to do is bring people down or be something that somebody has to worry about. Like, oh, Tom's upset, someone needs to go. No. Like I'm cool. I just want to go outside.
Yeah, but that's what I do. Like I can't tell you how many. Okay, you guys have met my best friend Suyun. Love her. She's like, pre-Tom Heather times like 10,000. Very social person, like loves meeting new people. And I just didn't, so there was just times where I was like, I'm just going to go home. And I don't feel bad. She's not going to judge me. And I knew that. And I was just like, whatever.
No, she was one of the best people too when we're talking about, because she's been traveling during COVID, and she's so careful about getting tested and quarantining when she needs to and all this kind of stuff. So she's super responsible, even though she's traveling. But she was one of the like best advocates for like, if you don't feel comfortable like talking to someone, hanging with someone, you just need to tell them like it has nothing. And she tells people like, it's nothing to do with you. It's like I'm like, she
doesn't even hesitate.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. Like,
I admire that so much. And she can do it in a way that's not
offensive.
Yeah, that's not offensive, because another thing too, when I started my current job 5 years ago, I came from a school. I worked at a school, ran a media program, and it was like a team thing, which was very annoying because like 3 of us were sort of like the leaders of this team, but for some reason I was just like the subordinate one, even though technically I was the only credentialed one, so the program couldn't have existed without my credential. But besides that, it was just sort of like my ideas were only valid if they went in line with everybody else's ideas. If I had a difference of opinion about something, it was automatically like, what's it called? It just vetoed. Yeah. And that was just so frustrating to me. And then also just understanding like a program like that. So when I moved to a new job and started a brand new program in a place where people just weren't familiar with it, I knew like, one, I didn't want to be in that position because I was the only person running this program and I wanted it to be my program. And 2, people just didn't understand. They didn't know like how these programs ran and what they did. So I knew like, okay, I need to be kind of protective of this. I need to be assertive about it. I need to do that. But I didn't have like the experience in doing that where like Suyun can be assertive and without being offensive. And I like, I messed up. Apologies had to be issued just because I didn't know. And of course that was wildly anxiety inducing, but it was just sort of like, you just got to try to figure it out. And it's really tough.
Yeah.
I just don't want people to be, I don't want people to be upset. I don't want people to be mad. I don't want people to be disappointed, and I don't want people to be inconvenienced. And I'm always worried that my needs, wants, or desires will cause those things for others.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, babe.
They do.
They don't. Like, if anything, you help alleviate, assure, like you do the opposite of those things.
That's
for
good.
So many people. Like, how do you not see that by now?
I don't.
Babe. Do I have to remind? I thought...
I don't know. You just waved your hand at me. I don't know what that means.
Why would I marry someone that is an inconvenience?
I know. I don't think I'm an inconvenience to you, but I mean, like little preferential things, traveling and meeting up with people during COVID, stuff like that. I'm worried. You know, I will always say, I'll just do whatever the group wants to do, whatever the majority wants.
No, babe.
I know. I know. But I know. And you know. You know.
Oy boy. Okay. Let's see. Aubrey's down for the couples table meetup. Awesome. Sensory overload hits me like that. I remember crying in a bathroom in Vegas after feeling overwhelmed, but I share this because I'm in a much better place now.
Sensory overload is a very real thing.
It's so weird because I never felt it. And if anything, like I loved it. I love just a sensory. Yeah. And then ever since I met you, now I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of like a lot.
Well, it's even, I like sadly like haven't really been able to play Hyrule Warriors.
Well, I have motion sickness like crazy now. I can't even edit my own videos, guys. I get motion sickness. Like,
yeah, this is also just, we're old now, but
yeah.
We should probably just moderate that one. You just want to delete that one.
What does that mean, though?
It's ask your parents. We can't moderate an EK.
Wait, what does that mean?
I'll tell you after the stream.
You know what it is? Tell me.
No, I can't. We'll get demonetized.
Jared says, oh man, I can relate to that. I can't stand parties. So uncomfortable. Large groups, nope, don't like them, even if I know everyone. Yeah, see, that's so crazy. Because like I was... It's not that I'm not. I mean, I don't even know how to say this. Like,
we'll get demonetized. Whoops.
What does that mean? I'm so curious.
We'll just we'll say goodbye. Anyway.
Andrew's here. Hello. Boop. All right. Kissa, I feel the exact same way, Tom. I hate the feeling of inconveniencing others.
Yeah. Which it's not as if there's people who've been around like, gosh, dang, you're such an inconvenience, Tom. Like, it's just, those expectations you place.
My limit is about 10 people groups. Anything more, I find a corner.
Anything more than that, it's like when people go like, let's have this big group thing. And it's like there's, I don't know, it's happened at schools and stuff. All 45 students are going to go out to this one banquet meal.
See,
and it's just
I'm so weird because like I'm the opposite. 100%. I love large groups, and whenever there is a large group, I 100% gravitate to like leadership. So I'm just like, what does everyone want to do? Do you need food? Do you have this?
I like
make
to
sure
be
you're
able,
comfortable.
like if you're going out with people, I like to be able to have a conversation, talk, interact with, and you can't do that with large groups where like literally I can't even see or hear people over there, but we're in the same group, but we're not. Like, anyway.
This is why we gravitate, because opposites attract, babe.
Social butterfly.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean like
social
I think
caterpillar.
that's a that's just a type of anxiety I don't feel. That's not to say that I don't feel anxiety. Like 100%.
There's just different kinds.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just want to make that clear because
Absolutely.
your girl is very anxious.
Yeah.
Often. Okay. Oh man, driving is the worst for me because motion sickness. How do I fix this? Oh, I'll tell you, Jessica. There are glasses that will help with this. It might hinder your, what is this called? Peripheral vision. But I think there's a way that you can
They're kind of goofy looking glasses because they have
you can
four
search
circles.
for it.
There's no lenses or anything, but there's like liquid in these rings, and so it always just like helps you to know where your like equilibrium is.
Yeah, like basically the horizon, it tricks your eyes to like reset the horizon to be where your head is tilting or something like that. But it actually works. I don't think it works if you are not moving. So if you're in a car, it will work.
You should
Try it.
experiment though to figure that out.
Let's see. Jill Lynn. Hello, Jill.
Hey,
I found
Jill.
out I am an HSP. Are you aware of this? I had no idea what the heck it was. Highly sensitive person. Tom, you may be one. It's not just emotional, but sensory. Highly sensitive person? Oh.
I would love to look into what this is because, yes.
Yeah, I feel like.
There's a lot there.
I mean, yeah. I was going to say I'm sensitive in like so many. There's just like triggers, you know? Like, if you put me in a room full of people that make up Tom's audience on YouTube, I will 100% shrink into the corner. Like, let me tell you who's not going to be facilitating that group. I don't feel like I fit in. So I would just like, I feel like I suck compared to everyone else.
And that's where it's exactly the same
But
thing.
if you
where
put
it's
me in a
about
room like
expectation.
a bunch of strangers, oh, well, no one knows me. So I'll just go. And
What if
do
it
my
turns
thing.
out those strangers are all my subscribers and it was a secret meetup? See, it's all about perspective.
Let's see. My mom said I was holding court in my hospital room, even though the doctors had posted a sign saying no more than 2 people at a time.
I like that.
Chiming in at 2 a.m. here.
Homesick
Geez, now
Matt.
I'll never go to sleep. Great subject.
Oh no, I'm gonna give you night anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I was going to say for nighttime, like, I think it's really important to have a routine. Like, you need to decompress and all this. But that obviously doesn't work for me because I still suffer from insomnia.
You can fall asleep, you just can't stay asleep.
I can't stay asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, what time is it?
It's okay, it's time to clear the table.
I think it is time to clear the table.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were trying to transition that or not, but it worked really well. Slick.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. We love you being here. What is this? Ba-doop. Yeah. Are you going to stream on your channel tomorrow, Tom?
I don't think so. I was going to, but there's a lot of prep work that I have to do. I'm going to do a live stream that involves a community post I made, but I need to like do a lot of prep work, and I don't know that I have the time to do it. I was thinking of doing it next Friday because it'll be next Friday is like after work. I'm done till the new year, and that'd be like very fun. So I was thinking of maybe
that's like a winter break launch.
Winter break launch. That could be a fun stream, but it depends. I might do a stream tomorrow if I can like organize the things that I need to prep for it. But cool. I just haven't. It's been so busy. I've not had time to do that.
Yeah. All right. My mother said I was no longer an introvert because I talked to so many people. That's funny. Aubrey, I would not think that you're an introvert.
I mean, I think everybody has shades of things.
Yeah,
like,
shades.
I would have traditionally always been like, I'm an introvert. My job is to communicate with people. I love talking with people, but I think the difference is very like, broadly speaking, introverted people are drained by lots of interaction and extroverted people are energized by lots of interaction. It has nothing to do with how much you like the interaction or not. I love interacting with people, but when I'm drained. Whereas I've had friends who are drained if they're not with other people.
Oh my God, that's exactly what I was going to say, Aubrey. I'm an extroverted introvert.
I'm an introverted extrovert. No,
you're not. You're definitely the other way.
Yeah, I like interacting with people. I just need then my quiet time afterwards.
I love my quiet time. Like, I need my self time.
I love that about
But I
you.
also...
that's a big deal. Like that's a very big deal that you like quiet. You know, you like a balance, of course, but that you appreciate that, it's a big deal. I love it. So it's time to clear the table.
I just assume a lot of Tom's audience is like me, and they think Heather's just great.
That's what I mean. There's no need to assume it. They confirm it, and sometimes they leave me comments going like, "Why don't you like less of you, more of her?"
Shut up! No, you don't.
I forget how they phrase
You're
it,
just
but
saying
I
that.
show her every time people leave those comments too, because I'm like, see, like people like you here. It's not like you ruin it or anything.
Someone also left a comment on Tom's channel last night that was like,
Oh yeah.
how come we're not talking about how hot Tom is or something?
Yeah, are we not allowed to crush it? I replied with the nerd glasses emoji. That was funny.
You're cute.
Oh. So are you. So
Anyway.
are all of you.
All right. So, time to clear the table. If you have any suggestions for future topics, please let us know in the comments. Also, I updated the link to the Discord server in the description underneath this video. So
We learned how to make links not expire.
Yes. So if you were clicking on it before and it was taking you to a dead thing, that's because it expired, but hopefully it doesn't expire this time. So go check it out. Join us. And I think that's it.
Yeah. Thanks
Tom
so
is a
much.
snack.
Snacky. Let's go have some snacks.
Yeah.
Anyway.